Welcome. In this video, we're going to do an unboxing and overview of the Galaxy's Most Wanted expansion for Marvel Champions, the card game. So down at the table, a nice shiny new box with some new heroes. So we're moving away from the Avengers, going into the Guardians of the Galaxy. So this is a large expansion that's going to have 2 new heroes in it with Rocket Raccoon and Groot. And 5 more challenges. So we've got 4 heroes. There's 2 versions of the collector from what I understand: Ronan, Nebula, and Drang. So I've been preparing my collection to house the stone, but I should be able to make room for you too. Giant size 265 card expansion sends you and your friends on an epic pursuit, piloting the Milano to the far reaches of the galaxy in search of the coveted Power Stone. The Galaxy's Most Wanted features 5 all-new interconnected scenarios, weaving a tale of action, adventure, and accolade that will put even the most skilled heroes to the test. Will you survive the journey in search of the Galaxy's Most Wanted? We'll find out. So let's go ahead and take a look inside. So take a peek at our rule book here. Well, see, we just got a bunch of cards to look at, which we are going to separate. Now each of the heroes, I'll go through card by card. The villains, I'll go through their main villain card and their side schemes, and then just flip through the others and skim through any campaign cards. So in our rule book, so we've got some important keywords. Some I've seen before, some new ones. So I've got hinder. When a card with this keyword's revealed, place X threat on that card. Insight, we've seen placing threat on the main scheme. Patrol is new. While any minions with a patrol keyword are engaged with a player, that player cannot thwart the main scheme. So that's guarding for the main scheme, kind of. Permanent, cannot lead play. We've seen that. Piercing, range, setup, stalwart's another new one. Character that has a stalwart keyword cannot be stunned or confused. So that's pretty powerful. And we've seen team up. Villainous just a little bit. So when a minion with a villainous keyword activates, give it a face down boost card from the top of the encounter deck. When you resolve that minion's activation, turn the boost card face up and apply its boost icons to the minion stats for this activation. If the boost card has a boost ability, resolve its effect. So it's basically a second villain coming in. And then we have some victory. When a card with the victory X keyword is defeated, place it in the victory display instead of the owner's discard pile. So for displays, out of play game area shown by all players. Cards in the victory display follow the standard rules for out of play cards. Got an amplify icon, so that's something new also. Increases the number of boost icons on boost cards. The boost card is turned face up during an enemy activation. Add 1 additional boost icon to that card for each amplify icon in play. Then our new mode of play. Each of the scenarios in this expansion can be played individually as standalone adventures or as part of one epic campaign. So let's keep looking through here. So we've got our campaign rules. So like the previous campaign, we're going to start with an identity, stay with that identity all the way through, and we can change our deck throughout. We're going to have some campaign-specific cards. Units in the market's going to be new, so apparently we're going to have cards we can purchase with our victory points to add to our deck. And then the expert campaign, we want a more challenging set. So you have persistent damage. Whatever health you're at the end of one, you're going to start your next one with it. So elimination of victory. If you're defeated in the scenario, you don't participate in the victory. And deck customization restrictions. Once you start the expert campaign, cannot add, remove, or change the aspect and or basic cards in their deck. So that's something new, and that's definitely going to be a big change. So looking through the rest, we've got our comics kind of telling us their story. So we're going over scenario 1, scenario 2, 3, and 4. Then moving on to our final battle. So going over our starter decks and an FAQ. And a campaign log, which I'm sure we can find on their website to print out another one for us. So that's the rule book. And here's all the new goodies laid out for viewing. So we are going to start with Rocket Raccoon. Hero form, thwart of 2, attack of 1, defense of 1, murdered you. Response, after you deal excess damage to an enemy, draw a card. That seems pretty good. Hand size of 5 and 9 hit points. Alter Ego, recovery of 3. Tinkering, as an action, choose and discard a TEP upgrade you control. Draw 2 cards. Hand size of 6 on this side. So he's got 2, I've got a plan, 1 cost event, tactic, hero response after you make a basic thwart using your thwart. Ready, Rocket Raccoon. He gets +1 thwart while in hero form until the end of the phase. Then he's got some reloads. 1 cost event, hero action, ready, each tech upgrade you control. So I'm assuming he's going to have lots of tech, which makes sense with him. So Schadenfreude. 2 cost event, hero action, till the end of turn, heal 2 damage from Rocket Raccoon each time you deal any amount of damage to an enemy. So depending on his techs coming up here, that could be huge, especially with just starting with his 9 health. Salvage, got a resource card. First thing you notice, it's a double with 2 different symbols, so that's pretty cool. So mental and a wild response, after you spin this card, put a tech upgrade from your discard pile on top of your deck. That's good. Then a battery pack, 1 cost upgrade. Item tech, enters play with 2 charge counters on it. As an action, exhaust battery pack. Move a charge counter from this card to another tech upgrade you control. All right, 2 of those. Cybernetic skeleton. You get 3 hit points, which is going to be needed. And while in hero form, +1 attack. All right, I'm liking that. Boost that up to a 2. Pretty good. Particle cannon, cost of 3. Restricted. Enters play with 2 charge counters on it. So restricted is you're only allowed to have 2 restricted items in play at one time. So 2 charge counters, hero action attack, exhaust this, and remove a charge counter from it, deal 4 damage to an enemy. This attack gains overkill and ranged. I'm liking that. Once again, playing to his abilities up here. After you deal excess damage to an enemy, draw a card. Getting overkill and ranged. A rocket launcher. Comes in with 2 charge counters. Exhaust it, remove a charge counter. Choose a player, deal 2 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. Seems good. And that's making me rethink this card. Healing 2. For each enemy you're doing damage to. Am I reading that card right? Till the end of the turn, heal 2 damage from rocket each time you deal any amount of damage to an enemy. All right. Nice rocket launcher. And then he's got a pistol. Another restricted. So the thing with restricted, since he's got so many, you can put a 3rd in play, but then you immediately need to get rid of another restricted, so you can still cycle through and play cards. Let's see, enters play with 3 charge counters on it. Hero action, exhaust his pistol, remove a charge counter from it, deal 2 damage to an enemy. It's got 2 pistols and some thruster boots. While in hero form, Rocket Raccoon gains +1 thwart and gains the aerial trait. So then he's powered with aggression. 2 cost bug ally, thwart 1, attack 1 with 2 health. Hero response, after your hero makes a basic attack, heal 1 damage from bug. All right. I like inexpensive allies to bring in, and we can heal him for a while. And then chase him down. This is one of the original cards, 0 cost event. Response, after your hero attacks and defeats an enemy, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Into the Fray we've seen before, 3 cost event. Deal 6 damage to minion. For each point of excess damage dealt by this attack, remove a threat from the main scheme. Plus play along with his cards. So lots of synergy built in here. Looking for trouble. Hero action, thwart, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a minion. Put that minion into play engaged with you. Remove 3 threat from the main scheme. So Thor had something similar to that, where he went searching for stuff. Risky, because you can go through the encounter deck pretty good, but you might need it. Relentless Assault, one of my favorite aggression cards. Makes sense to have him in this. Hero action, deal 5 damage to a minion. You've paid for this using a physical resource. This attack gains overkill. Then we have Follow Through, 2 cost upgrade. Hero Interrupt, when your hero's attack deals any amount of excess damage, increase that amount by 1. That's pretty sweet. Hand Cannon, got 3 of those. 2-cost upgrade uses 3 charges. So that's another difference. Cards that have uses, once they're all used up, the cards get discarded. Whereas his tech items do not have uses on them. So even though they're out of charges, they will stay in play until you choose to discard it to draw 2 cards or something like that. So when your hero makes a basic attack, exhaust hand cannon, remove a charge counter from it. Your hero gets +2 attack for this attack and overkill. Then we've got Groot, an ally, 3-cost, basic, thwart 1, attack for 2, takes 2 damage from that, but 6 health. Play only if your identity has a guardian trait. Response after Groot defends against an attack, heal 2 damage from him. Sweet. Flora and Fauna. So the team up between Groot and Rocket. 1 per deck is the max. Place 2 growth counters on Groot to a max of 10. Ready him. Or place 2 charge counters on Rocket Raccoon upgrade and ready that upgrade. Then we've got our basic 3 resources there. Then we have some booster boots. 1-cost upgrade. Play only if your identity has the guardian trait. So sorry, Iron Man, you can't get some more rocket boots. Hero interrupt. When you would take any amount of damage from an attack, exhaust booster boots and discard the top card of your deck. Prevent 1 of that damage. When we go into his obligation, he's been kicked by the rabbit. All right, so give to Rocket Raccoon, may flip their alter ego. Choose to either exhaust your alter ego, remove this card from the game, or discard the highest cost upgrade you control. If no upgrade was discarded this way, this card gains Surge. Discard this obligation. Then he's got a Vendetta. That's getting one of our new icons there. That's going to provide some boosts to the villain. Then Blackjack O'Hare, Schema 1, attack of 1, 3 health, comes in with Quick Strike. Villainous, so he gets a boost card. And he's a happy little rabbit. A lot of icons there. Blackjack's Bazooka, attached to him. If you can't, give it to the villain. Spend 3 mental to discard it, +2 attack. Then Planetary Invasion. When revealed, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a minion. Reveal that minion, then give it a tough status. So that's everything for Rocket Raccoon. So now moving on to his buddy Groot. Thwart 1, attack of 2, defense of 3. Flora Colossus, force interrupt. When Groot would take any amount of damage, remove that many growth counters from him. For each growth counter removed this way, prevent 1 of that damage. It has a 5, 10 hit points. Then on this side, recovery of 4, growth spurt. It's an action, place 2 growth counters on him to a maximum of 10 and a hand size of 6. So he's going to be all about putting counters on him to help prevent damage and possibly some other things. So 2 fruition, 0 cost event. As an action, place 2 growth counters on him to a max of 10. I am Groot. Then a 3 cost event, I am Groot. Hero action, thwart, remove threat from a scheme equal to the number of growth counters on it. All right, so that can get pretty good. And then I am Groot. 2 cost event, hero action, attack, deal damage to an enemy equal to the number of growth counters on him. So I'm liking these, that the counters stay on him. And he's got 3 root stomps, 2 cost event, deal 5 damage to an enemy. If this attack defeats that enemy, place a growth counter on him. Then we are Groot, a 1 cost event. Hero action, remove up to 4 growth counters from Groot. Choose that many friendly characters. Give each of those characters a tough status card. I love tough status cards on our heroes or other friendly characters. Fertile Ground, 1 call support. Alter Ego action, exhaust this. Place 1 growth counter on Groot and draw a card. Very nice. Then Entangled Vines, a 1 cost upgrade. Hero interrupt. When Groot makes a basic thwart, remove a growth counter from him. Exhaust this card, and then he gets +2 thwart for that thwart. Lashing Vines. Hero response. After he uses a basic power, remove 2 growth counters from him. Exhaust this to ready him. Divine Shield. When Groot defends against an attack, remove a growth counter from him and exhaust this card. Groot gets +3 attack for that attack. And Vine Spikes. Groot makes a basic attack, remove a growth counter from him, exhaust this. Groot gets +2 attack for this attack. So he's got a lot of upgrades to help him out. And of course, they paired him with protection. So Star Hulk, 2-cost ally, thwart 1, attack of 2. Does take 2 damage after attacking, 3 health. So when he takes damage exactly to his remaining hit points, return him to your hand. That's interesting. So you probably attack with him for 2 damage, then defend with him against a small minion doing a damage, put him back in your hand. I'm liking that. Something new. Seen this card before, Desperate Defense. Hero Interrupt. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets +2 defense for this attack. No damage was taken. Ready your hero. Fighting Fit. 2-cost event. Deal 2 damage to the villain. 5 damage instead if your hero's remaining hit points are equal to or greater than your hero's starting hit points. Then 2 Power of Protection. Dauntless, 1-cost upgrade. So play under any player's control, max 1 per player. While your hero's remaining hit points are equal to or greater than your hero's starting hit points, your hero gains Retaliate 1. Pretty good, especially with some endurance put in there with it. Hard to Ignore. If your hero defends against an attack and takes no damage, exhaust Hard to Ignore. Remove 1 threat from the main scheme. Then Indomitable, another card we've seen. After your hero defends, discard this and ready your hero. Then Rocket Raccoon, our basic ally, costs a 3, thwart of 2, attack of 1. Seems backwards. 3 health. Play only if you have the Guardian trait. When Rocket Raccoon attacks a minion, all right, that makes more sense. It gets +3 attack for that attack, and that attack gains Overkill. All right, well, that seems right on par then. And he's got his copy of Flora and Fauna, his 3 main resource cards. Then we have a 1-cost upgrade, Deft Focus, max 1 per player. Exhaust this, reduce the resource cost of the next superpower card you play this turn by 1. I'm liking that. Then his obligation, so he's going to wilt. Give to Groot, may flip to alter ego form. Exhaust your alter ego, remove wilt from the game, or remove 3 growth counters from Groot. If no growth counters were removed this way, this card gains Surge, and discard it. Then he's got a Blazing Inferno, force response. After the villain phase begins, deal 2 indirect damage to each player. Ouch. Then Fernax, Schema 2, attack of 2 with 6 health. Force response, after he activates, deal 2 indirect damage to each player. Not liking what these cards are doing. And Fan in the Flames. When revealed, take 2 indirect damage. If Blazing Inferno is in play, take 1 additional indirect damage. If Fernax is in play, take an additional indirect damage. Ooh. Hoping he doesn't see his Shadows of the Past. Alright, so we're done with the heroes. So if you're afraid of spoiler material, this is probably a good time to bug out. I'm going to read just a few of the cards and then just show them, so not going to be too terrible. So starting with Drang. So you can see how he changes there with his scheme and his attacks. Force response, after he schemes, resolve the Badoon ship's charge up ability, which assuming we'll see here shortly. Then some additional abilities for revealed on the other ones. So he'll be starting with the Brotherhood of Badoon, Ship Command, and Standard Encounter sets. And modular set the Band of the Badoon. Put the ship into play and the Milano support into play. So he's got 2 schemes here to go through. Then he's got his ship, Spear, Engineer 2, setting up a blockade, bombardment, an armada, and spatial positioning. Then we'll move on to the Collector. He likes to scheme and do some attack. So when a card, player, or encounter would be placed into a discard pile from play, Put it face up into the collection instead. So that sounds interesting and scary at the same time. Players must choose to either put the top card of their deck face up into the collection or take some damage. Let's see what all that's about. So he's getting infiltrate the museum, some artifacts, standard, and menagerie medley. Create the collection game area. Put the top card of each player's deck face up into the collection. That's scary for some of our heroes for sure. So just one main scheme. Hero action, choose to either exhaust your hero or spend 2 resources of any type. Discard 1 card from the collection back to its owner's discard pile. So 10 per player, and then if there are at least 5 per player cards in the collection, or if the stage is completed, players lose the game. And it starts with quite a bit of threat on there to start with. So that's tough. So they've got his biogram image, Star Stalker. Villainous with 7 health. That's never good. Inconspicuous box. Can view the cosmos and stay a while. Ooh, and another caught off guard. We've seen that in our expert mode. Discarding upgrades. Ooh, terrible. So that's just one of the collectors. The next one just got an A and a B. So he gets plus X scheme and attack, where X is equal to the main scheme's current stage number. When he would be defeated, remove 3 threat from the main scheme and flip this card instead. So it cannot be defeated. When the round ends, flip this card back. So 8 hit points, or his printed hit points, which is 8 per player. Interesting. So you see which ones he's starting with there. Put the library labyrinth environment into play. So he's got 3 on this one at least. So missing the Milano. So Lost in the Museum. And the Great Escape. So our environment that starts in this, library labyrinth. I have you now. So a couple of those. And impossible geometry. That gives me a flashback to high school. Then on to Nebula. There are 3 versions. So the first technique attachment revealed, each round gains surge. When she initiates an attack against you, resolve the special ability on each technique attachment in play. Then discard each of those attachments. All right. So a whole lot of techniques coming on. See how she starts up. Ooh, with some space pirates. Get the Nebula ship and the Milano support. The Art of Evasion. And Warp Drive initiated. Got the Nebula ship. So her techniques, Cutthroat Ambition. Evasive Maneuvering. Unyielding Persistence. Weapon Mastery, so she got a lot of these. A Wide Stance. So some Lethal Intent. Barrel Roll. Some Incite and Surge. Combat Ready. And Ruthless. And then on to our final boss, if you will, Ronan the Accuser. So pretty good scheme and attacks and some extra abilities coming up. So Toughness. Retaliate 1 in toughness. When Ronan the Accuser activates against you, give him an additional boost card if you control the Power Stone, which is sitting up here, so we'll see what that does. Superior Tactics, so searching for some schemes to put in play. So he's got 2 main schemes. Interception Imminent. And take what is mine. Got his Kree command ship. Universal weapon. Fanaticism. Cut the power. Pincer maneuver. Superior tactics. Single-minded fury. Kree philosophy or physiology. And you stand accused. And we start looking into our modular sets. So we've got the Band of Badoon, 10 cards in that. Got some assassin minions, some grunts, lieutenants, and sentry warlord. So a whole lot minion heavy there for sure. Rocket Raccoon's going to have some fun there or pay a price. Then we've got some galactic artifacts, Cloak of Hercules, Obedience Potion, Beyonder's Blazer, the Poison, the Power Wand, Monarch Egg, Magical Teapot, Philosopher's Stone, and a nice crystal ball. And moving on to the Kree Militants. Got some combat armor, Kree Commando, Lieutenants, a lot of health on these guys, Private, Quick Strike, Patrol, seeing some of that put into play, Stalwart, not a fan of that. All right, Menagerie Medley, so some more Ghost Minions. Servant Bot with Guard and Patrol. The Star Shark, Quick Strike, deal indirect damage. All right, deal damage to each character you control as a boost. Some nasty minions in these. We got some space pirates coming in. Quick Strike. Yeah, I'd say they have stepped up the difficulty in these. Sound the alarms and honor among thieves. All right, ship command. So we've got our Milano. Permanent setup. The first player controls the Milano. Piloting resource. Exhaust the Milano to generate a wild resource for any player. Very nice. So then we've got a rogue vessel. Cannonade. Blindside, a hull breach, power siphon, and a special delivery. Then moving on to the Badoon Headhunters. Victory and Villainous on the hunt. Dead to Rights, his henchmen, and a Fugitive Recovery. Then we're looking at our Power Stone. That's what Ronan's looking for, and we need to take from him. Then we have some standard and expert challenges, which the scenarios are going to have us put in play. So depending on what side or what challenge we're going for, got the Badoon Blitz. So our scenarios will let us know how these are going. So our second one, Gallery of Splendor. So standard mode and expert. There is no escape on standard and expert. Guerrilla Tactics. And Kree Supremacy. Ooh, that's not good. All right, then finally, things we can purchase. So apparently the market is big. So we've got our unit cost, which we pay for with our victory points. So other basic cards we can put in our set. We've got a Brainstorm, By Any Means, Contingency Plan, and Defiance. Calculate the odds, Creative Solution, Grapple, Wing It, Close Call, Defy Danger, and Harm's Way. Take the fight to them. Some armor plating, heavy cannon, hyper thrusters, a reactor core, then ardent resolve, on rush, safeguard, shore gamble, I like that artwork, cargo hold, mounted laser, navigation column, targeting screen, grand strategy, power unleashed, tried and true, and triple threat. So that is everything in the Galaxy's Most Wanted expansion for Marvel Champions. As always, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. If so, please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.